In the previous video, we looked at the coding query. In this video, we're going to look at this query in further detail, using it for sentiment coding. But first, let's look at sentiment coding. Here in the Environmental Change Down East project, if you look in the coding folder and select codes, you'll see there is this attitude code and there are a range of codes within this. This is a manual form of sentiment coding, and the researchers here have mixed, negative, neutral and positive. Let's look at how this works in practice. If I open an interview, such as Barbara's, and turn on the coding stripes for all codes, you'll see throughout this interview there's a range of both thematic codes and these attitude or sentiment codes. Let's look at this particular piece of text for example. You can see here that there's lots of different coding. We've got natural environment, infrastructure, balance and water quality. But in addition to this, there's also some of this attitude or sentiment coding. Here we've got some negative attitude, and here some positive. What NVivo is able to do is look at where this sentiment coding overlaps with thematic coding. So for example, the coding of infrastructure and positive overlaps for this particular sentence here. This means it is a positive statement about infrastructure. We can clearly see this overlap by manually looking in the source using coding stripes. However, we can use queries to explore this in much further detail. While these sentiment codes are not useful by themselves, if, for example, I open up this negative attitude code, it's just going to show me every single time there was negative sentiment expressed about something. This type of code is only useful when cross-tabulated, overlapped and queried with another. So, let's return to the Explore ribbon, the Query button and choose Coding. I can now choose all of the following are true, coded to, all selected codes or cases, and then select the positive attitude code. I then can add a further row, and this time select one of the thematic codes, for example, economy, and click OK. When I run this query, it's now going to find all of the positive sentiment to do with the economy. And here we can see all the way down all of the positive references. You'll also note that this is bringing in a range of sources. There's lots of stuff here, for example, from the survey responses dataset, and also from the Twitter dataset. If I wanted to just focus this on my interview participants, I could use the search in criteria, choose selected folders, and then by opening up files I can click the interview folder and then rerun this query. Now I'm querying all of the interviews for text that is coded to positive sentiment and is coded to economy. I could then, after reading through these, switch out positive for negative and continue my reading to further understand this economy code. There are other ways we can use this. For example, I could switch all selected codes or cases to any selected code or case. In addition to negative, I could tick mixed, neutral and positive, and then finally change coded to not coded to. This is now going to find texts where all of the following are true. In the interviews, it will find text coded to economy, but it will also look for text that is not coded to negative, mixed, neutral or positive. This means it will find any text that's coded to economy but is lacking one of these attitude or sentiment codes. This looks like a lot of text, so let's check to see if it worked. You'll notice we can turn on coding stripes, but I'm only going to do it for selected items. I'm going to bring in each of these themes here under the sentiment codes for attitude, and I'm going to bring in the economy theme and click OK. You'll see here everything should be coded to economy. and as we go all the way through the text we can see that this is true. We can also see there is no text coded to mixed, negative, neutral or positive. This is a very useful way in which I could review my coding. So for example, looking at Susan's interview, all of this text here has been identified as related to the economy. However, there's no sentiment code identified. I could use this interface to go through and start coding to those attitude codes where I see appropriate. Of course, it could be that these texts have no sentiment to them, but you can see this is a useful way in which you can review your coding progress. This is just one of the demonstrations of the depth of the coding query. We'll look at how we can explore sentiment further in later videos.